And welcome to our EPIC CBO TA call for today. On the line I have with me Dee Reinhardt and Tammy Stone, and this is Olivia Miller. Today we have a lot on our agenda to cover. If you can, before I start pulling things over, go ahead and check in and let us know which CBO organization you're with, and we'll go ahead and hop right in to our first agenda item, which is our dashboard numbers. All right, let's minimize out of this a little bit. All righty, so for application not started, it looks like we have a few CBOs who have some applications that need completed. We do know that you are working to get those customers in after they've met with DHS to do their eligibility review, whether that be in person or via phone. And then after DHS has verified them as eligible, just make sure you're getting them back in to complete that application with you. If you're not able to get them back in to get that application complete by their appointment date, make sure you're getting that 2151 uploaded, letting us know they were a no contact or referral rejected. That is why that application is not completed. For our 2151s past due, those numbers are pretty high. We need to work on getting those down. Albany Park has 9, Catholic Charities has 4, Central State Sear has 10, and Jane Addams has 2. Make sure you're getting those 2151s uploaded within 48 hours of the customer's original appointment. And for enrollment required, we have some customers in this row as well. We have 1 from a Safe Haven, 3 from Albany Park, 1 from Catholic Charities, 10 from Central State Sear, 3 from Leslie Bates, 8 from National Able, 3 from North Lawndale, 8 from OAI, 11 from Phalanx, 2 from Springfield Urban League, and 1 from Tri-County. You have 5 business days after you've met with the customer to determine their enrollment. So make sure you guys are getting those assessments completed and determining if you're going to be able to enroll those customers into your organization for training or pre-employment only services. And then so we have a couple customers with minimal progress or no progress. For customers that are in Region 1, make sure during your staffings you are highlighting these customers and talking to them about possible ways to move forward with the customers to get them to acceptable progress. If we have any CBOs who are working with voluntary or exempt customers, if your customers are making no progress and you're not able to contact them after about a month of outreach, we need to go ahead and update them as did not complete, drop from the program, so you don't have to continuously do 2151As for customers you are not working with that are not you're not in contact with. We don't have any customers marked as situation worse, so that is a plus. It looks like I have some questions going on over this on the side. Kelsey says wait. And Dee said that these numbers were pulled at 10:30 this morning. So some of this may have changed between now, 3 o'clock, and 10:30 when she pulled those. Kelsey, I'm not sure which 4 customers you are talking about.
That's Kendra. It's Catholic Charities. Yeah, she's talking about the 4 that are in the past due that she's saying that the appointment's not until 6/28. So, Kendra, if you don't mind getting a hold of sending Olivia and Dee an email on that, and then they can check into that.
I checked that for the application that started. The customers in that row were scheduled today, but I didn't check it for the 2151 past due. So if that's something that we need to do, then I will work with the programmer to make sure that that's corrected.
Alrighty, and Kelsey has a question. If they are working and they are no longer in contact, and who is working 20 hours a week and exempt now, how do we exit them? The customer makes $13.50 an hour and works less than 30 hours per week. It isn't enough to get him off SNAP. However, it is enough to get him exempt status. What do we do with this customer? 2151A's forever or complete as what status? Should I close him? Kelsey, I sent you an email. We'll get this customer resolved offline. I had emailed you back right before this webinar with some questions I needed answered on what's going on with him. I'm going to go ahead and we'll finish up these last few rows. We have a few customers whose completion statuses need some final updates. We have one in a Safe Haven, 2 in Albany Park, 1 in National Able, 3 in Springfield Urban League, and 1 in Tri-County. This is just stating that you mark the customer as complete, but if they were hired by an employer, they could be missing their employer information. They could also be missing a 2151A marked as complete regardless of what their exit status was. So make sure if you have customers in that yellow row, you're taking a look at their completion information section on their progress page and seeing what is left to add for their completion information. We also have a couple customers who have been marked as SNAP ineligible by DHS. Their completion information needs updated to did not complete, with the completion reason being SNAP ineligible. We have 2 at Albany Park, 1 at Central State Sear, 2 at Mantricon, 2 at National Able, 1 at Phalanx, and 1 at Springfield Urban League. So make sure you guys are getting those customers updated and marked properly in their completion information section. Next time we meet will be on July 18th, I believe. Let me just double check that. It will be July 18th. So make sure that you have all these outstanding numbers cleaned up by our next webinar. Everybody's completion information is updated, and any 2151As or 2151s that are past due have been taken care of. Do we have any final questions with the CBO dashboard numbers? Okay, it looks like Kelsey, Carmen, and Dee are having kind of going over some stuff in the chat. So we'll go ahead and move on to our next agenda item, which is the Cost Study Data Workbook discussion, and Tammy is going to talk to you all about this.
Hey everybody. The first thing I want to let you guys know is the workbooks were due for this quarter, the 8th round of the cost data study, and I'm still missing some workbooks. I'm going to call you out, the ones that I still need to get. I need Albany Park, Asian Human Services, Central State Sears, Homework Hangout, Leslie Bates, National Able, North Lawndale, Southland Healthcare Forum, and CARA. And Southland and CARA, I'll have to work with you guys. This will be your last book because I know both of those are closing. So those are 2 I'm going to have to work with probably directly. But I need to get those ASAP. If you've submitted them and you're on the list, I'm sorry. They may be lost in my email somewhere. So just resend them. But I need to get those and get those uploaded so that our evaluation group can do their analysis based upon that. And then the other thing I want to talk about related to the cost data workbooks, and I'm just giving you a heads up on this right now. We had conversations with our evaluation group, and the whole intention of this project is to do a big evaluation part of this to see what's working and what's not working and what the costs are associated with this particular program and what the success level is. So now that we're doing this new cohort that is no longer going to be part of the random assignment, the evaluation team is not interested in any of your expenditures that you're attributing to this new cohort. So they did draft a letter. I have reviewed this with some of your counterparts that are in the fiscal area to see if it's doable and makes sense. But what we're going to be looking at doing is any costs associated with a new cohort, you will not be putting in these cost books. So what you're going to have to track is any direct cost to customers that are in the treatment group, so any customers you're currently working with that are in the treatment group or any re-engaged customers in the treatment group that you're working with. So if you're providing training costs, paid work experience, support services, any direct costs, you should be able to identify those and report on those. And then this is one thing that we're still waiting on their approval, but on the admin side, we can do like a percentage, a prorated percentage based upon number of customers served within that quarter, active customers, compared to the new cohort in the treatment group. But I'm vetting that, and I think it's going to go fine for your staffing too. So your career navigation, the staffing side of that would be a percentage of the effort. So it would be a percentage of active customers either in the treatment group or in the control group within that quarter. So I wanted to give you a heads up on this, specifically talk to your financial offices because that's information that they're going to have to probably provide to you guys. And I anticipate, I know that the one organization I talked to, they code, the customers in their books. And so they just said, we can just code our customers, so that we can pull them out, the treatment group customers and the new cohort customers. So I just, like I said, once again, this is just a heads up for you guys to start thinking about this because we will have to keep those costs separate, and they're only interested in costs associated with a treatment group. So does anybody have questions on this? This letter will be forthcoming, hopefully this week, kind of explaining what we want, and then your new cost study books will be due, trying to think, they may be August or September. I'm not sure of the exact date, but they will be covering January, February, March, April, May, and June quarters. So you will have some, we started this May 14th. So, anything that was prior to May 14th is going to be all treatment group. After May 14th, that'll be costs associated with new cohort and treatment group. And if there's no questions on that, we can move on to the next topic. And thanks, Mary Beth. I must have missed it, so thanks for resending.
All righty.
So I think I've got, Tammy has a quick question. I'm sorry, Carmen has a quick question.
Okay. We can move on while she types that, and then I can respond to it.
Okay, I'll do a couple of quick things here. Uptown and Special Units moved. I was misinformed that I thought it was just the Uptown office, but it's actually both units. They have moved. They're now called Northside. There is a new DHHS primary contacts list in the file pod. Sorry, Kelsey, I'm remote. I can't help it. And the DHS primary contacts list has been updated. We have it highlighted with the new address for Northside. So Northside and Special Units are both moved, and they are no longer being called Uptown. Olivia, do you want to talk about the reverse referral? And then, well, while we're here, we also need the CBO contact list updated. So if you've got people that have changed, phone numbers that have changed, any of that kind of stuff that has changed, please send me an email, dreinhardt@Illinois WorkNet. I'll type that in the chat pod, and we'll get that updated. So, Olivia, do you want to talk about the reverse referrals in the large groups?
Yes. All righty. So, for our reverse referrals in our large groups, we just kind of wanted to go over the reverse referral process with everybody to make sure you all were able to move forward on that okay with no issues. For the reverse referrals, we just wanted to remind everybody that CBOs cannot schedule customers any sooner than 12 business days from the current date that they are inviting the customer. That gives DHS time to go through and verify their eligibility and get the assessments completed with them that they are required to complete. If we have any issues with Social Security numbers being typed in incorrectly, those customers will need to be re-invited. Make sure you're reading any comments DHS is leaving regarding any customers that they were not able to verify eligibility for, so you all know if there's action needed on your part or if DHS already took care of it for you. Additionally, DHS is going to be doing something similar to what they did during the original first round of EPIC, where they're going to be inviting large groups of customers in to go over EPIC with, and then invite them to the CBOs if it is determined those customers are interested in participating in the EPIC program. So there might be times that you get large rounds of customers that come into your system, so you'll want to be prepared for group orientations like we did in the very beginning of EPIC, in the event that DHS were to invite or send you, 10 customers for orientation. They will always look at your schedules and make sure the system will prevent them from overscheduling too many people on one day if you can only, hold up to like 5 or 6 people. But just wanted to make sure everybody was aware that that would be happening. Do you guys have any questions so far on the reverse referral process, or any questions regarding the large groups of customers that could be coming in?
Olivia, I just have one comment, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that Deidre indicated that, DHS is very interested in you guys being present, potentially, at their offices and being able to communicate with their customers. So if they're doing these large groups, that may be a good time for you to be present there and kind of expedite some of this process.
Yes. That is correct.
So what they want you to do is get in touch with the local offices and find out when they're doing a large call, and then try to schedule yourself in to present your programs at that time. Thank you.
Kendra stated that she has some DHS offices who are scheduling customers without using the calendar. We have to be notified anytime that happens. If you can send us the name of the offices and the name of the customers that happen to, we'll work with Deidre from DHS to make sure they're not doing that. Awesome. Thank you, Kendra. Alrighty. Any other questions regarding reverse referrals in the large groups? Alrighty, nobody's typing. So our next agenda item is focusing on our target audience. So as you all know, our target audience are ABODs. We can enroll individuals who are not ABODs. They can volunteer for the program, but our target audience, the main people we want to be reverse referring, are ABODs. We do know that we have some counties that are only working with volunteer customers, so this does not apply to you. For counties that serve both mandatory and volunteer customers, our target is our mandatory ABODs. Voluntary ABODs are able to participate, but our main target population is our mandatory ABODs. We can only get up to 25% volunteer customers in EPIC. So if we start getting close to or exceeding that number, we will have to pull back on the number of voluntary ABOD customers we are putting into the EPIC program. So as you guys are going out, and finding your reverse referral customers, just keep in mind that the main target audience that EPIC is built and looking to serve are our mandatory ABODs. Alrighty, it looks like we have a question, but Dee may have got it answered. Kendra asked, how do we get those offices when the customer is over the 14 days? Can we reach out to them and ask them to accept their invitation? Dee says they are waiting to complete the required forms. If the customer doesn't answer the phone, they have to call the customer into the office. So we do know that occasionally it will take more than that 12 business days that we have set in place for some customers. If that is the case, the system is built so that DHS can reschedule them with you as soon as possible. They don't have the 12-day waiting period. So for any customers that are not able to get in contact within that 12 days that they have to mail a letter to and have come into the office, they will reschedule the customer with you at the soonest possible time after they have met with that customer. And then Carmen asked, is that 25% of the new cohort? If 25% overall, I don't foresee that being a real issue. And Carmen, it is 25% overall. I don't, Deidre sent us some numbers. She's looking in to get some more updated numbers. But when I looked at the numbers, we were not close at all. So we're doing pretty good. But just wanted to make everybody aware now instead of when we get to that 25% if we do.
And just remember, one thing, that they could be ABODs, but they could be volunteers. So there's a difference between a work registrant and non-work registrant. And an ABOD could be mandatory or voluntary. So an ABOD could be voluntary because they have like a disability or you know, there's in the brochure that you guys should have that's on the resource pages, identifies what the exemptions are basically that would make them a volunteer as opposed to mandatory. So if you go into our partner resource pages and pull out the DHS brochure, that information is in that.
I'm going to see if I can find that link for everybody because we also built an infographic that kind of goes over a lot of that as well.
And Kelsey asked if there's a way to be alerted when they're going over their days. You can watch the red rows in the top of the dashboard to see if a customer is over the 11 days of being verified eligible. So that's the one place where you can check to see what's going on. You can also look at the Invite Customer tab and see if it still says verified ineligible. Kelsey, I don't know the answer to that.
Once again, if you have volunteers coming in that are wanting to participate and active, and you know, and you can provide services, by all means, do not turn them away. We just need to keep. We're just letting you know we need to keep an eye on those numbers because if we start getting close to that 25%, then we may have to pull back a little bit and try and get more ABODs in. I think we're going to be fine, but we just wanted to make you guys aware of that.
All righty. Kendra asked, is it okay to inform the customer to go to their local office if they haven't heard back from DHS?
And I would say yes.
Yeah, in
yes.
that 12-day period. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and you know, I know some agencies that are actually going with their customers to the DHS office. You know, if that's something.
One of them.
Yeah, I mean that's something. If you have an office, I know we've had one problem with one specific office that was a little bit more non-responsive. So yeah, and then reach out to us, and then we can always get Deidre to you know, move some stuff from her side too.
Yeah, and Kelsey, if you ever have questions regarding the 12 days of your customers, you can always, like Dee said, check that row.
Remember, it's 12 business days, which next week we only have 4 business days. So that's a big difference there. I'm going to move on to the next agenda item, which is adding programs. I've talked to a couple of agencies. You're going to do new programs if you want to. We want them to be short-term and able for the customer to complete them during the process of the time that we have left. If you've got an option that says other program requires administrative approval, that means that Olivia, Tammy, and I have to approve that program, and we'll need to see growth information, or we need to see a validation of what that customer wants to do and how they're going to be able to support that job moving forward. The whole purpose is to get customers off of public assistance, and so if they're being trained in an area, we want to make sure that they're going to be able to find a job or start a business or do something with that along the way. So if you've got programs that you want to add, just contact Olivia, Tammy, and I so that we can kibitz about it and then say yes or no. Send us an email and we'll get on that. And if you all want to add another program requiring administrative approval, you can all do that as well.
All righty. Any questions?
Yes, Kelsey, basically, but there will be an associated program that they're doing. For example, somebody might want to do Microsoft Office Professional, and they can get it online, but it would be as part of that program. Okay, but you don't have it offered as an EPIC program, so you might want to add that anyway.
Alrighty, so our next agenda item is looking at a specific step that we have in the I-STEP. I've been doing some TA visits, and I had a couple questions regarding how CBOs document the costs they have to spend getting customers fingerprints, background checks, and drug tests for work experience. We have in the career section of the I-STEP a specific step called Other Services. This step is a step you'll add to the customer's I-STEP, and you'll input in the cost for any background check, fingerprinting, or drug testing you have to do for a customer, whether it be for work experience or permanent employment. We have the same step also on the academic tab. This is a step you would use if you had to do any of that for a specific training program. You can add that all in using the Other Service step. The description outlines what it can be used for and includes the fingerprint and drug test. So you can always make sure to keep your eye on the description if you forget the name of it, because we do explain what the step should be used for. Additionally, on the topic of the I-STEP, we have been working with some CBOs on benchmarks, making sure all of our benchmark information is accurate. And one of the things we came across is we have a couple CBOs who have some academic steps that have been added in for customers, and they're either marked as not started. For those steps, if the customer never started the step at all, they were never enrolled and started the first day of the training, we're going to have you go in and remove those steps from the customer's I-STEP. We're doing this to make sure that our benchmark report will report all of your numbers accurately. If you have a question on whether or not you should or should not delete that step, you can give me or Dee a call. The main thing is if they've never ever started the step, no cost was expended on that step. We want to get it out of their I-STEP. Alrighty. Dee, do we have any open questions? It looked like you maybe were getting them all answered in the chat.
Yeah, I'm working on those.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Alrighty.
Okay. Paid work experience. Now, we have paid work experiences in two places in the I-STEP. One of them is under academic, and one is under career planning. And we have not been counting the paid work experience, successful completion of paid work experience as a completion of training at this point. And we're going to be adding that to it. So if you have customers that have been placed in paid work experience that have no academic components with it, and but they have completed a paid work experience and they've been successful with it, then that will be counted on the benchmark report as a successful completion also. Because under the WEO program, paid work experience is a training activity also. It's just that, that was not included on the benchmark report originally as a successful completion, but that will be included. So I just wanted to let you know. I don't know how many of you have that, in career planning, but if you do, you should see some numbers increasing, for the completion of that on your benchmark reports. And then, Olivia, you want to talk about the benchmark report updates?
Yeah, so the benchmark report updates are going to include exactly what Tammy just said, and then we also have to update the benchmark report to count customers who unsuccessfully completed training programs as an enrollment for academic services. Right now, it's not counting those customers. We are not making the updates quite yet. We have to get the updates approved before we start moving forward with reprogramming those, which I think we will have done here before too long. Once we get those approved, we are going to get it scheduled in for programming. We do have a lot of different things that we are working on getting programmed, so it will be a little bit before we're able to squeeze that one in there. It'll probably come after the re-engagement updates, since that has been on hold for a little over a month now. But just know that we are working on updating that benchmark report, and once we get it updated, we'll have you all take a really close look at it, make sure everything's reporting correctly for everyone, and if we have any issues or something is not reporting correctly, we'll have you reach out to us directly so we can work with you to get those resolved. And then our next agenda item is our success story videos. We are going to keep bringing this up to make sure everybody is aware and prepared. We're going to be bringing in David Kane to do some success story videos for EPIC. There will be some really nice, clean success story videos that we're creating. And we're asking that our CBOs identify customers that they think would be really good to include in these success story videos that we're going to start working on here before too long. I have got a few emails from a few of our CBOs regarding these success stories. Thank you all very much for sending us those in your customer list. If you have not already sent me any information or any new people come into your mind, please go ahead and send another email to us here at EPIC. I will forward those on to Natasha, but you can send them to either Dee or I, and we'll get them to where they need to go. Alrighty, it doesn't look like I have any questions on that either, so we'll go on to our next agenda item.
Okay, so we've got some CBOs who are going to be promoting themselves on promoting their programs on the DHS TA webinars. I have scheduled National Able Network for this coming Friday and Albany Park Community Center for this coming Friday. Charities missed the one on the 15th because she forgot her daughter was graduating from high school. So, Kendrea, can you do this coming Friday as well? And then I need people to present on the 13th of July and the 27th of July. I'm going to do 3 each. You get 5 minutes each. So type in the chat pod which day works best for you, and Kendrea, let me know if it works for you as well. So I'll type those from the chat pod into my list. And then, Olivia, if you want to go over the updates.
Yeah, so as you all know, we have had lots of updates that have come in and out of EPIC with all the new cohort and the control group stuff that we have going on. Not all of our CBOs are in the control group, so if you're not part of the control group, you do not need to worry about any of our control group updates. But you will notice, and I'm sure you already have noticed, that things are slightly changing within EPIC. Sometimes they're big changes, other times they're smaller changes. So recently we had pushed out the following updates so that the agency column has now been added to the new cohort export. Additionally, super admins can remove a control group record from the customer progress history tab. So if you have any customers that need removed for any reason, you can always reach out to me, Dee, or Deidre. We also have some control group directions. We have updated those, and now within the control group system, the instructions for utilizing the control group are on the page. So you do not need to go to the partner page to find those instructions. As you're in the online EPIC tool, you'll be able to access those instructions straight from that control group page. We have also pushed out an update so that super admins can delete out appointments for customers who have 2 or more appointment dates. So we ran into some issues where we noticed that customers were getting assigned like an appointment date on June 30th and then again on July 5th. And that was getting a little confusing, and that was also filling up your guys' schedules faster than they should have been. So we can now go in and delete out any appointments that were added in and then they were later updated, so that that'll free up the other day for you, and then it'll be more easily to follow when the customer is actually coming in. So if you have any customers that you're currently working with getting ready to come in and meet with you and you notice they have multiple appointment dates, and you're not really sure what's going on or one of them needs deleted out, go ahead and send me or Dee an email and we can get those taken care of for you. On June 20th, we had some updates come out to the control group tool was actually pushed to production on that day, and super admins could move customers to new CBOs for the control group. And then all the other updates we have had come out were prior to our last webinar, so we would have covered them on our last meeting. But as you all know, every time we have updates come out, we have a web page where we go and we update everything so you all are aware of everything that's going on. I just put the link into the chat pod, so make sure you keep an eye on this page, especially now with all the new cohort and control group reporting and stuff we have coming out. This will make you aware of any new changes. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. We always make sure that we update our instructions, which are also on our partner page, as we make updates to the tool. And that is all I have on updates. Do we have any questions?
Lydia, I do have a couple things that I want to add to the updates. I want to thank all of you guys so much for being so quick on returning your modification signature pages. We've got all of them in. There's still one we're working on to get through the process, but you guys were amazing. I just wanted to kind of explain what's happened with this modification. We have approval from FNS to change the line items so we can do the 50% career navigation, 10% admin. And then, with a new cohort, as, those documents that you guys provided to me and we had discussions over regarding your funding levels and the line item changes and the number of customers you plan on serving in the new cohort. All of that still will be in process. The only thing we could do in this modification was a date extension, and we had to do that because these grants were ending this month, and this is the end of the state fiscal year, so we had to get that done. And then we did a small scope of work change to take 25% of the total grant funds, so it's out of performance. It's not part of the performance equation, which will be a benefit to you guys. And like I said, we're keeping an eye on performance. If we have to do other adjustments down, we'll be considering that. But we could not do the other revisions because we do not have an IGA executed with DHS. And we were really, really close on that, but then we hit a snag because of GATA. And with GATA, there's a new process for IGA, so we have to have a UIGA now, which is Uniform Intergovernmental Agreement. I did talk with Deidre. DHS this is a priority. They're expediting it. They're hoping to get this done within the next week or two. As soon as we have that executed, then I'm going to be starting modifications all over again. And one of the other things that Deidre just got from FNS2 is the extension, so a no-cost extension to February of 2019. So we'll be extending the grants again to the end of February. We'll be adding in and revising all your line items, and we'll be adding in the additional customers that will be served in these grant agreements. But I really wanted to have this all done, in one shot and, now, because I know a lot of you guys need the money and the line items now, so that you can start charging this off, and your GRS is going to match what's in your trial balances. But, I promise you, as soon as that IGA is executed, that's the number one priority is to do another modification on these grants. So, I'm hoping it'll be the first part of July that we'll be doing that. And then one other update that I've got is we are working with IDES to try and get wage data information. And we're going to be adding you guys similar to what DHS did with you guys, and you had a security form that you had to complete. There's a process of completing a security form with IDES. So for us to be able to get this information and potentially populate workNet down the road with actual wage data, we need to make sure that everybody that is going to be viewing the data can pass their security requirements. So here in the very, very near future, you'll be getting something from me, and then Levi from my office is working on this also. So you'll be getting something from us related to that document so that we can try and gather that wage data information from IDES also. Does anybody have any questions on any of that? I see Carmen typing. Is D. Reinhardt 2 the robot version of D. Reinhardt? I wish we had two Ds. I put one down south.
I am I'm logged in at home and on my laptop, that's why.
If we could clone, we would be doing that. So if nobody has any questions on that, and you can call me direct, like I said, if you have any questions related to your grant agreements, and you will be receiving information real soon about the IDES data part of that. Olivia, Dee, anybody else?
I do not have anything more. All righty.
Okay, so real quick. Oh, Kelsey's typing.
Yeah.
Customers who are uptown are now lower north. Is that correct, Dee?
No, they're now north side.
North side. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah,
so
north side were uptown.
Yeah, and National
special
Aid will
units is
experience
still
that.
special units.
Yeah, National Aid will
sorry,
experience
Kelsey,
that where
about
they were
that.
going to do a staffing, and they showed up to the office, and there was nobody there. And they, on the door, they didn't actually have an office that's been relocated to, so there was no direction either on that. So, like I said, make sure you're looking at the updated DHS contact list of agencies.
That is in the file pod, and it is uploaded to the restricted resources page. And Olivia will make sure that it is included in the notes that we send out about the meeting today. That should have been communicated. They moved on the 18th, so I apologize if we didn't communicate that last week.
Okay, well, if nobody else has anything else, I am done with my part. Olivia, anything else?
Nothing from me.
Guys, thanks again. All I can do is say thank you so much for all of your work out there in this program, and it's we're making some successes for sure and some great strides. It's been challenging, but I think it's going to be real rewarding in the very end. So everybody have a great day.
Bye, everybody.